like within 6 months.
Yeah.
So there isn't anything to do. I'm not sure why they don't know that.
And then,
Text messages get deleted by the companies within like 3 or 4 days. So
Well, then what?
you're 5 years too late for that one.
well, then I want to discuss this with you before you leave.
Okay, yeah, I can come over. I have, I think I gotta rush out too, so. Unless this takes a really long time.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to our Monday, May 6th, 2019 meeting of the Whitley County Board of Commissioners. We'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we begin our meeting, we're going to open. We'll have a bid opening for the Highway Department for project RD02-19 Lake Road Asphalt Overlay. Brandon? Okay. I'll start. I've got Fendon Brown.
Should be a bid sheet, possibly the very last page.
Is it 96?
No, there's an actual breakdown that I
okay.
give them. It's right on top, Tom.
Oh, okay. Everybody's a little different. And these are just duplicates, right, on this one?
Probably the same contractor, yeah.
So is this the one that we want right here?
No,
This?
it looks like that's right there. Tom's got it.
The bottom figure down here,
Okay.
grand total.
Okay, grand total that I have on Fendon Brown for the RD-02-19 for the grand total bid will be $794,988.50.
The bid I got's from Brooks Construction Company, Ardmore Avenue, $786,485.
Red tab.
Red tab? Thanks, bro.
Done plus
Yeah, that goes to,
I've made bigger messes, I just don't know when. Within 8.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hope.
Okay, I have a bid here from Midblock for project RD-02. A total of $806,429. $806,429. I have a bid from E&B Paving for project RD-02 in the amount of $825,247. $825,247.
okay, that concludes our bid opening, and we'll close that meeting, and we'll begin our commissioners' meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion first that we take all bids under advisement until Brandon's had an opportunity to review them and
We've got a motion to take bids under advisement for Brandon.
I'll second it.
We got a second. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you, Brandon. Okay, now we'll begin our Commissioners' meeting. We'll start with our County Attorney, Matt Shipman.
Angie just went to go call her. Rosemary had given me an agreement to look at that had to do with some hosting through Fiddler, and I looked at that, and that's fine. I'm not sure if she's going to come down. Angie was going to go call her. See if she's
Okay.
around. Other than that, I don't have anything to report other than, to the extent you were maybe going to mention it, we did have some conversations about continuing one of the rezoning that was supposed to be set for today till at least May 20th.
Okay.
I'm not sure the number of the,
We've got it right
I did
here.
have some conversations with the attorney about that today.
Yep. So
I
that,
would recommend that at least, unless Rosemary's at lunch, but maybe we can revisit this later in the meeting. Agreement is fine. It's an amendment of our previous.
okay, so petition 19-W-REZ-02 will be continued until May 20th. And that's it. Was Rosemary going to come?
She was at lunch.
Okay,
If she comes, we can do this, and maybe she doesn't need it.
okay.
She didn't make it seem like it was urgent, so.
Do we need to approve that? Contract with those, or?
The motion to continue until,
Yeah, I mean, I would
Okay.
continue it, yes, with formal motion.
I make a motion that we continue. Can I read it?
The one with Rosemary's thing?
No.
no, this one
Oh.
we're talking.
Let's wait till she comes and
Okay.
make sure she
Yeah.
doesn't have any changes.
I make a motion that we continue petition 19-W-REZ-02 until our May 20th meeting.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion to continue the petition number 19-W-REZ-02 to the May 20th meeting. We've got a second. Discussions. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
The only other thing I have is, we talked about this at the last meeting, is the construction loan agreement with the PB Development, which is the development company of Michael Kinder and Sons for that Park 30 development. Well, that got, for some reason, the document itself didn't get signed. Somebody from PD, Doug Kinder, has now signed it, and I do have the signed copy. At last month's meeting, we talked about authorizing George to sign that, and I think you guys voted on that, but I do have it here, and I do need to get that signed today. So. That's the agreement you all looked at and approved a year ago. It just, for whatever reason, it never got signed. The project is now done at this point, so it's the reimbursement for the infrastructure costs.
Is this original, is this one that needs signed?
I think you guys voted and authorized George to sign it at the last meeting, so I haven't signed it. So, and I'll notarize it. I just didn't bring my stamp with me.
Okay.
I don't have anything else,
Okay,
unless you guys have questions for me.
anything for Matt? Okay, next on the agenda, we have Kathleen Randolph, Indiana Workforce Development Board. Kathleen? Could you have a seat and tell us your name and
My name is Kathleen Randolph, and I'm the CEO of Northeast Indiana Works, which is the Regional Workforce Development Board. I'm here today to ask Commissioner Schrumpf if he will sign the Regional Elected Officials Agreement. This agreement is in place in every region in the state of Indiana. In Northeast Indiana, we cover 11 counties. The last time, the agreement is identical to the last one that was signed, and in your county's case, it was Commissioner Rethlake who signed the agreement. What the agreement really describes is the ways that the regional elected officials will govern some of the activities of the Workforce Development Board. And what the body has decided is that they have empowered the chair of the regional elected officials, who is Commissioner Doug Bauman from Adams County, to attend every meeting of the board and to take care of any of those perfunctory kinds of matters that the elected officials are expected to do. For example, he does the formal appointment of business executives and business leaders to serve on the board. Also, if the governor ever wants to call upon the regional elected officials for joint planning purposes, then he would do that through Doug, so that Doug Bauman would be in touch with you and say, the governor may want to meet with you. And the reason I bring that up is because I think that the governor is very happy with what's going on in Region 3. I got a call from his office not long ago, and there's a great potential that he will be coming up here and will be convening a meeting of the board and the elected officials. That's unprecedented in Indiana, but it's a credit to the ways that our region is collaborating and the really positive things that are going on here. So it's a matter of just signing the agreement. What I will do then is once the agreement is fully executed by all of the elected officials, there's one in each county, then I'll make sure that you get a fully executed copy.
Okay. Any questions for Kathleen?
Yeah, is this agreement for a multi-year agreement, or is it?
Yes, in our case, it's for 3 years. I did check with the state of Indiana, and they said that a lot of regions don't have limitations or terms of the agreement, but we do. Our board has decided that it's a better practice to have a renewal process because sometimes significant things happen at the federal level that impact our regions. So that's why I'm back now.
Okay.
Attorney, have anything you want to add to this?
Matt,
Oh,
No, I mean, I don't have anything to add necessarily.
It's probably boilerplate, right? It's the same.
It's
I haven't
exactly
seen
the
it.
same agreement.
That's the
Yeah.
question.
yeah.
I do
the same as
have
we had.
an extra copy that I will leave with you so that you at least have a copy of it, and then I'll send you the executed copy.
great.
How many signatures do you need on there?
We have just, it's just the chair of this
Okay.
body.
I'd make a motion that we approve the contract and allow the chairman to sign.
Second.
Didn't you say that the state's attorney had reviewed it, and that's why we didn't necessarily need the county attorney to
Yes.
review it, and that's why it wasn't presented to all three of you prior?
Yes, actually, I'm sorry, I should have elaborated on that. That is actually true, and furthermore, the state has certified the document as being, appropriate and.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we've got a motion to approve the chairman to sign the regional elected officials agreement for the local area Region 3 Workforce Development. Did you second?
Yes.
Okay, you've got a second. Discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen. Next on the agenda, we have Parkview ambulance discussion. Trent and Chad.
Fit and Chad. Get him in. I'm sorry, what is your name?
Would you give us your name and then your presentation?
Yep. So Trent Miller, I'm the Senior Vice President over at Pre-Hospital and ED Services for Parkview Health System.
I'm Chad Owen. I'm the Director of Communications, Flight, and EMS Services for Parkview Health.
So Chad's been in his current role over our system EMS for a couple of weeks now, but he's been with Parkview for many, many years. And he's kind of run this. He's got a handout that he's given you. You guys asked us here because we have changed slightly what we were doing as a business model. And the reasoning behind what we're doing is to try to be better. We've added this as a system department of Parkview to try to make it better in every way that we can. And we've invested a lot of money into a dispatch center that we use to help us move ambulances and to respond as fast as we can. Obviously, it's more of a customer service issue for us than a quality one from evidence-based, but we want to get there as fast as possible because in an emergency, it matters a lot to the people that are on scene that we get there as fast as we can. So that's the rationale behind what we're doing, and I'll let Chad kind of talk to the handout that he just gave you.
Okay, thank you.
So we started the new system posting mid-April. So the week 1 and week 2 are just the first 2 weeks of that posting. Last week was the 3rd week of that. So what we were doing, and I'll get better on a format for you guys in the future. I put this together. So what we're doing from a standpoint is, historically EMS, the benchmark has always been from time of call to getting to the patient within 13 minutes. Everybody has always talked about that, but we've never really chased that to try to get to that compliance rate. And so we went to more of a system posting. So in Whitley County, we have our 3 stations, ALS stations, which are South Whitley, Columbia City, and Cherubusco. So now when a 911 call comes out, we backfill that station with another vehicle. And so this is just our compliance rates doing that methodology. There's some operational stuff that we're going to tweak a little bit after the first 2 weeks of data that we have gotten in there a little bit more to work with that. So that was our biggest kind of change on that aspect. And then I don't know if you guys have ever heard of our community paramedic program that also serves Whitley County. So we have Jeff Nee, who's one of our community paramedics. He serves northern Wabash, Huntington, and Whitley counties. And so just a little bit of the work that he does from a community paramedic perspective. He helps with the uninsured, underinsured, and then the value-based patients. So he will bridge them to home health care if they need home health care, and then he'll also bridge them off of home health care. So if you have someone that has home health care and then is losing that service and they need watch, they'll hand it back over to Jeff, and so he helps with those. Works congruently with just finding resources within the different counties, council on aging, those types of things, getting people hooked up with MAP if they need medication assistance, and kind of those everyday things from a patient advocate standpoint. If you have someone that doesn't have a family member or can't navigate the system, which everybody knows is difficult, Jeff really is the resource to navigate that system with them. And then really the change in my role, so coming out of Allen County and help picking up the 911s from a reporting structure. Met with Dr. Brown, who's the medical director on that, and then I've just kind of, for the first 3 weeks, I've been kind of going around and rounding with our medics and talking to the leaders and everybody and trying to get a better grasp on what's good, what's bad, what we can improve on, and go from there.
Okay, so. Commissioner?
In the first 2 or 3 weeks, how many employees have you lost?
There has been one that has resigned, but I don't know if that's from this or not.
Okay. I know of 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay. Your bottom paragraph, could you explain, we're looking at a standardization to minimize cognitive load on our medics. Studies have shown a high cognitive load puts them at risk for clinical errors. Could you Could you put that?
So just cognitive load, like if you're in like a full arrest situation or anything, having standardized equipment, medications, not having to come up with, what is my dose for succinylcholine, what is my dose for epi, especially in a pediatric setting. So just from a standardization and training, a lot of the training has switched, so now instead of coming up with medications from a milligram perspective, you standardize out your meds, so you know that then you start thinking of the doses in milliliters, so you're not necessarily having to come up with, what is my 120 of Sax, well, what's the volume of that? So you're always pulling up from that medication vial, so we've been working on that. And just, as you know, when you're the lone medical provider out managing a code in the field, you really don't have a second set of hands all the time to validate your medication dosages, the route, anything like that. So really kind of simplifying that for them. I don't want to say simplifying that they can't do that critical care work, but taking that when you're in the heat of the moment in that critical situation, taking that off of them so where it's more simple that they know. It really follows the line from the Broslow tape where I guesstimate the child's patient weight, and then I go off the color scheme. It kind of wonders that road where you just pull your yellow bag off for pink and work off of those types of things. So really the evidence-based practices from EMS across the United States, that's the one, other than the human factor, that cognitive load is the one thing that if you can reduce on that, it reduces their clinical performance, but it also reduces that after effect heavy burden of guilt that they will often carry as a dispatcher or a.
I think we got along okay with a higher load though.
Oh.
You were around, you know that.
Oh, I know.
We used to do a lot more than we do now.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
Okay, all right. Do the managers ever ride the trucks?
That I don't know. So that's one of the things that I've said.
Okay.
So as I've been rounding with the staff members, I said, I'd love to come out and throw a shift with you, get on the truck and ride with you and stuff. So it's as I'm starting to round with the leadership team, those are some of the things that I'm getting out with conversations with them. But that's the structure of the departments, the communication within the departments, not only with the crew members, but the government leaderships, trying to get a grasp and a handle on all that to see where our improvements can be made.
Are they still required to carry a certification?
Oh, yeah.
My suggestion is, it certainly worked well in the past, and that the manager should have some truck time.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree.
So, okay. That's all for right this second, I guess.
I don't have any other questions at this time.
One thing I appreciate is we talked before where as far as percentages, the 94% that we have, that's the good under the 13 minutes, and we appreciate you letting us know the issues that you've had with anything over the 13 minutes. And
So that's one of the things that I changed when I came on was if we're shooting for a 13-minute, anything over that 13-minute, there needs to be a spreadsheet that we can look, track and trend, what are our opportunities, where are those fallouts, because, if we're hitting 92%, there's still 8% we're not getting to, so what are our opportunities within that 8% to improve?
Right.
Your computer program, it always knows where the ambulances are. Is that right?
The CAD system, our CAD system?
Yeah. It has a locator on it.
The trucks have a locator on them, and then they see them.
So if I were to ask, can you tell me what times an ambulance was on station in Churubusco? Can you answer that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could I get that information? Yeah, and South Whitley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know dates that you want, or?
I want to know, I want to look at a 2 or 3 week period of how often an ambulance was not at the station.
What are you after? I mean, they're moving all day. What are you looking for from a metric there?
Gap, see if there's a gap that the town of Cherubusco or town of South Whitley's not covered. I mean, you gotta admit, your ambulances could be coming from Cromwell to Cherubusco now, under the noose.
Just to clarify,
Yep.
when I give you Cherubusco data, it won't be Cherubusco Station necessarily, but they would be in Cherubusco.
True.
I just want to make sure that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just, you want a month's worth, or do you have a specific time frame you're looking for?
Yeah, just a couple of weeks worth.
Okay.
I'm just looking for a trend, so, because to my way of thinking, and this is without checking with legal, per our agreement, you can't do what you've done. Our agreement says you cannot relocate the Cherubusco or South Whitley ambulance without permission from the commissioners. It's right in the agreement.
We read that as the base, and the bases are the same. So, I mean, we can talk offline to come to a mutual understanding, but that's the way we understood it to read.
The bases are the same, Trent, if there's an ambulance at the base. So, I got you.
Okay.
I got you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any questions you had for us, then?
From my perspective, just a cadence. I'm not sure, getting the fallouts on those and tracks and trends on those. If there's specific information you guys want, I can leave you my contact information and just get with me, and we can just, whatever a cadence that would be from your guys' perspective, as I'm kind of getting this under my umbrella. And I want to make sure I'm satisfying your needs.
Trent, you and I hadn't had a chance to talk about it, but I checked with my fellow commissioner. Also in the agreement, the EMS Oversight Committee is to meet at least quarterly. It's my understanding. Are you meeting quarterly? So,
No.
So we need to, I mean, we take that seriously. And again, it's just like the chairman said, great if you're doing it 90% of the time. We're not interested in that. We're interested in the 10%, what happened. So I think it's time to make an oversight committee, a true oversight committee, and the report would be based on this is what didn't go right, more so than this is what went right.
No, I absolutely agree.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, Chad, good luck on the new job.
Thank you.
Chad,
Thank you, Trent.
Chad, I love you, man.
You lie.
No, we go back too far.
Scott Wagner, junk and trash bid opening.
Did you pass up the sheriff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't have a bid opening because the tenants cleaned up the mess after the judge issued the order, so I don't have anything with that. I do have a couple other items if you...
Sure, so go ahead.
We have a reappointment to the health board for Michael Mayhorter. He's been on the board for 4 years. He needs 4 years, just needs the chairman to sign it.
I make a motion that we reapprove Dr. Mayhorter.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve the appointment to the County Board of Health for Michael Maywater. We've got a second. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
The second item I had emailed you earlier about the third-party testing for the fish hatchery meth house that you had previously approved for cleanup.
Yeah.
The cost was $1,278.50. Just in a motion from the board so I can sign that invoice and get that done. I sent you a packet. You
You did,
want to see it again?
but help me with the claim. I went through the claims and there's the $10,000 claim.
That is for Protex for cleaning the house. They went in and cleaned it. So because of our county ordinance and state law, the locations are tested previously to see if there is a level above the state level, which is 0.5 micrograms per liter. Of course, this tested high, so then we hire a company to have it cleaned. They've cleaned it, that was the invoice. And then this party is a third-party person who tests it to make sure that they did it properly. We require third-party testing in Whitley County.
Oh, this is after the fact.
Right, that way,
Gotcha.
the same people who cleaned it don't know whether he's gonna test. So that it's a thorough job, and so.
Gotcha.
Will these fees be put against the
Yes.
property?
Yep, both of them.
And what was the cost of this again?
$1,278.50.
Didn't we approve that?
You approved the cleanup for Protex.
You didn't prove the
Okay.
testing.
Right, because
Not
it's a third-party
not the
testing.
post-test. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the post-test for the property on Fish Hatchery Road.
Okay, we got a motion to approve the $1,278.50 for a third-party testing on Fish Hatchery Road.
Second.
Got a second? Discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand, opposed, the same.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Scott.
What I'm passing out now is what we're taking to the council just for their information for this upcoming budget year. It's a 5-year improvement plan. We had a 5-year plan purchased and coordinated by High Performance Government last year. And several of these positions were in that 5-year plan. And we're just kind of looking at what we need to do as a department to survive the fact that the county is growing rapidly and different changes. And so you kind of see what we prioritized there. This last year, we've gotten a contracted health educator and then brought the health nurse completely on the levy for payroll. What we're thinking for this next year is a part-time weights and measures person to work underneath me to fulfill the majority of those dates, because most of weights and measures is a scheduled event, but there will be events where that person may not be here, and I can still cover for that. That should be fairly limited. It shouldn't be a whole lot of money there to do that. And as we progress through the years, then we're looking at onboarding different positions, probably using grant monies to help offset those costs initially. That might be a little more favorable thing for the council to come to when we bring those things before them, so.
Scott, these implementation in 2019, those already been funded, correctly?
Right, the top two are ones that, just to show you what we've done since I've taken the directorship, is what we've been approached to and how we want to move forward with those.
All right, and the one you proposed for 2020, then by budget time, will you be willing to put a dollar figure on that?
Yes, so I just want to let you know, kind of let the council know this is what we're thinking of. I'll come up with hours, what it takes me to do a lot of these things, and then we can look at a number, and then we can look at what kind of monies we have to help with that and go from there. Yep.
Okay.
And we'll do that every year, whether or not they approve it.
All right, and those ones that were put into place in 19, those will continue to be funded here forward.
Right, the public health nurse obviously would always be on the tax roll. She was there prior to 2008, and it was taken off for the recession, now put back on. The contracted health educator, as you see, it looks like 2021 is, we'd like to onboard that person for as a full-time, so.
All right. Okay, thanks.
And are those grant funded, or is that combination?
Well, I think as we bring somebody on from a part-time position into a full, we would use certain grant monies applicable to that, and hopefully that would help the council look at that more palatably, as helping out with that, maybe paying for some of the benefits. And then as we progress, if that can show that that is a benefit to the county, then that would become a full-time person eventually. If you're looking at the tax levy, if we're able to keep our tax levy the way it is, we should be able to manage all these people within the next 5 to 6 years. So.
We appreciate you looking forward like this, so that we've got some warning at
Right,
least.
we have higher demands in our county. With the hepatitis A that's come out recently, we've had to do the jail personnel. We've also done community corrections with assistance from the state, and I just think that that's a department that we're going to need 2 full-time people in eventually. That's the next year, and I think just the county growing in general, we just need to be on top of things. So.
Anything further for Scott?
No, I appreciate this.
Looks
It's
good.
a lot better than surprises.
Yep,
Try to keep you informed. Thank you.
thanks for planning.
Okay, planning and building, Jen.
Nathan, you've changed your looks.
Okay, there are two. The first is petition 19W REZ4. It was heard on April 17th by public hearing. Plan Commission voted unanimously to favorably recommend to you this petition. It was filed by Robert and Linda Hoffman on behalf of the property owners to amend the zoning classification from AG to RR, Rural Residential District, for properties comprised of 18 parcels generally located and around in the subdivisions of Westfield Passage, Burris Estates, and Burris Estates replat, and it contains a total of 50 plus or minus acres. Do you do them separately?
Yeah. Since the planning commission approved this unanimously, I'd like to move that we, as commissioners, also approve this.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve petition 19-W-REZ-04.
Second.
Got a second? Okay, that will be an ordinance then? Okay. Okay, that'll be ordinance number 2019-04. We've got a motion, we've got a second. Discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
Okay, the second is petition 19-W-REZ-05. It was also heard on April 17th and also unanimously favorably recommended to you. This was filed by Micropulse Incorporated to amend the zoning classification from AG and GC to IPM, Industrial Park / Manufacturing District, for property comprised of 8.86 acres, generally located northwest of County Road 600 East and State Road 14 in Section 3 of Jefferson Township.
Based on the approval by the Plan Commission, I make a motion that we approve it.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve petition number 19-W-REZ-05, which is ordinance number 2019-05.
Second.
Got a motion, we've got a second. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Okay, also in your packet, you've got a certificate of appointment for the alternate Board of Zoning Appeals member, appointing Troy Joe Wolf, beginning April 15th, 2019, due January 1st, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move we approve it.
Second.
Got a motion, we've got a second. Discussion?
You didn't do this?
I thought you guys did that last month.
That's what I'm thinking
But I
too.
know.
He's already attended a meeting or
He was at
two.
the meeting, all right?
I think this is the official,
Okay.
I'm fine with it, I just
Okay.
thought we already did it.
Well, we talked about it.
Okay, we just didn't sign it?
Okay.
How many do you need signed?
This is the original.
This is original here. Did you have anything else, Jen? Okay. Anyone have anything for Jen for the planning and building? Okay. Okay, next on our agenda, Becky Salaway, voucher signature.
You just come up there, or do you want me to sit?
Yeah, just bring it up here if you would.
I think you got the, I had faxed it last week, and we were awarded $36,391 for the purchase of this low-floor minivan.
Right.
They typically come in the fall, and this one came in April.
Were you prepared to pay for it in April?
No, but we got it all taken care of. It was a little bit of a surprise. The federal portion of that is $28,800. The Council on Aging part is $7,200. So I just need a signature so that we can claim that $28,800 to pay for the bank.
Okay.
And this is a blue pen.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request and ask this chairman to sign.
Got a motion to approve, having the chairman to sign.
Second.
Got a second? Do I have any further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
Which is a mid-sized transit vehicle. We're expecting that to come in September, October, when they normally come. But
Will you be surprised again when it shows up next month?
yes, I will be surprised and shocked.
Thank you.
And do you guys have any questions for me?
No.
Well, thank you.
Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank
Give
you
you your
very
blue pen
much.
back. Thank you. Next, we have a Pier request on Blue Lake.
I'm Tim Holmes, representing some of the homeowners on the east end of Blue Lake, requesting permission after finding out that the vacated property of the John Rapp subdivision is under the auspices. The commissioners are the riparian owners of that vacated property. I think by ordinance back in maybe 1992 or something. And I'm asking for permission to put a pier off the point, which would be the west end of the peninsula at the east end, reaching to the west. And the reason for this temporary is that 2 years ago, we were awarded a grant by the Lair Project through the DNR. We removed all of the piers. Previously, there were some homeowners that used the island, which is also vacated, as we found out recently. And because we thought we were going to get dredged last fall, and because of the weather, we didn't get the job completed. They're bridging to the island, to access the island, and their piers have been vacated, and it's not going to be done now until probably beginning in August and ending in September. And I'm here to represent some of the homeowners that are being inconvenienced by this, and trying to find a resolution where they can enjoy the lake this summer. And the temporary is to go through the completion of the dredging, at which time they will have access to their own property.
Do you know anything?
Yeah, we're looking at it right now. It's something I could investigate at this point without looking at the plat and figuring out, it's not identified as anyone owning it on the property, but have these always been islands?
The peninsula, yes, it's been a peninsula and an island for several years. The island created by a channel to the south, and the peninsula to the channel. This is the inlet channel from the Maloney Ditch, and it's the primary inlet. There's over 1,000 acres of watershed that feeds the Blue Lake from that, and it is presently closed due to sediment and overgrowth. So we don't have access to the properties, to the private properties. But I did go to the recorder's office, and in 1992, I think that subdivision, the John Rapp second edition, was by ordinance giving the commissioners the riparian ownership of, and when I say riparian, that's for the pier rides.
It looks like there's a pier that goes out to that.
There was, and that's the one that we vacated.
See what we're looking at?
Yes, there
The
was.
pier that goes out to that middle island?
Yes, there was, and that's the pier that was vacated to allow the dredgers access to the channel. And we removed that last fall because we thought the contractor was going to get in last fall. Because of the weather, he didn't want to get his barges frozen in, so rather than to put the bridges back across there and then have to take them out again in August, we would like to, there's a peninsula just to the north of the island, and if they would go off the west end about 30 feet, there would be no obstruction to other navigation. I've cleared this with DNR, and that would be the only time that they would have any oversight to this. It's strictly on the commission at this point, unless there was a complaint that we were interfering with other navigation or creating a hazard to other boaters.
So you're talking about putting the piers off the peninsulas?
Yes, temporarily until the dredging project is done, and when the dredging project's done, that's going to take the depth down to the natural bottom of the lake, and we'll have access to put piers off of our own personal or private property.
I was under the, have you spoken to DNR about this?
Yes.
What's their response?
They have no, it is not under the auspices of the DNR unless someone would complain that we were obstructing their navigation of wherever they navigate. This would not be the case, and they would actually have to be approached by someone who was being interfered with. These piers have been out there in the past. We didn't realize that, we needed special permission. It's been set.
But you never had to get permission from the DNR to put, I thought DNR controlled the water, but.
They do, but they don't control the land. And
I know, but the pier's in the water.
yeah, but it's attached to the land. Now, if we go 3 feet off and wade through water 3 feet to the pier, then it would be under the, but once it's attached to the land, you are the riparian owners according to that ordinance in 1992.
Well,
and I don't know if there's any way to change that, maybe because it was vacated by the developer.
This is not an easy question. The law has changed pretty considerably with respect to some of this since this was done in 1992, and so to the extent you say one way or the other, then what's to stop then, as soon as this is over with, somebody to petition to vacate it and say, well, I own that now, I've been maintaining it for a period of time or whatever. Before I would give you any legal opinion, I need time to look into it, okay? And so to figure out for sure who owns it, to read these statutes, to look at the plat map, my suspicion is that the county has never done anything in any way to exercise control or ownership of this property, and so it doesn't necessarily just mean that it's your property. And the last thing I would suggest that the county wants to be doing is giving somebody permission to put a pier there, because then something happens, the county's going to get sued for a pier. Somebody...
Water skier hits it.
Anything. As soon as you say, yes, it's fine, you can do it, then you're, to a certain extent, giving some responsibility to it. Now, I think it's also true, though, that I don't know that if somebody puts a pier out there, that you're going to hear anything from this board. kind of think it's a DNR thing, really.
Right. I talked to two different people over here at the DNR, and unless someone would complain that we were obstructing waterway, well, actually, they don't have it would go to the Division of Waterway, the complaint would, and then there would be an arbiter at that point, but that's the only way that they would get involved is if someone complained that we were obstructing somebody else's right to get in. Well, you can't get in there anyhow because it's plugged. But it would not go strictly to the Department of, or the DNR, but it would go to the Division of Waterways at that point, and then there would be an arbiter between the complainant and whoever had the pier attached to the...
It's really, I mean, it's not any different than the east end of Shriner Lake, right? Where you've got a whole area where continuously, I know at least George hears, well, do something about those piers. Well, as soon as you're doing something about those piers, then there's no different than the property all along the lakes, frankly, that that were either reserved for the public use or that have not been deeded to somebody, or as soon as you start getting into that, your meetings are going to be full of people wanting to know this or that about piers. But I would like time to look into it.
Okay.
It just seems to me like the most we could do is, if we were responsible for that land, just to have him, he can access it, but we're not responsible for anything past that. To put a pier in, because again, that's DNR at that point.
Well, true. I mean, the DNR regulates the piers, okay? And so, but DNR is a complaint-based organization. Right. So if nobody complains, then they aren't going to do anything. Right. And, but, you know, what's to stop anyone from, at that point, I mean, you could have 1 million piers on this island, all over the place. And it wouldn't be until somebody complained that the DNR would come out and say, okay, and the way the DNR figures these out is they try to figure out who owns the ground, and then who has rights to use it, and then do those rights extend into the water for riparian uses. And but it always starts with who is the owner of the property. But
according to Beacon Schneider, nobody.
And
it
does look around the lakes there. That's the way it is.
There are several lots on the north shore of Blue Lake, and I'm sure Tri-Lakes as well, that there's probably 20 or 30 feet that are undeeded in front of their personal property. And some of them now are going to, through legal means, to acquire a deed to that property. But at this point, they all have, I mean, we all have...
The issue, too, to a certain extent, is when most of these subdivisions were platted in the 20s and 30s, the lake level was considerably different in some of these lakes than it is now, because of beavers and, you know, we didn't have the dam structures that controlled the flooding. And so there was considerable, on a lot of plats, you'll see a high water line and a low water line. Those are 30 feet different in the course of a lake. Well, now, the water lines are pretty steady, and there is ground in some lakes where, you know, that technically is still owned by the U.S. government, probably, because it was never land granted to anyone because it was underwater at the time. And so, but figuring all that out is, you got to dig into it. My suggestion would be that you table it. If you want me to research it further, I'd be happy to, or alternatively, don't get in the pier business and don't do anything with it.
Sure, what do you want to do?
At this point, I would just as soon not have permission to use it. I mean, without knowing. But I guess the question is, as you asked, who has the auspices or the ownership of the land? And this has been going on for years and years and years around the lake, and we're just trying to cover our bases, I guess, at this point. And
did you guys hire I mean, a lot of times when I do this work privately, not for the county, the first thing I do is hire a title examiner who will go and tell me in an affidavit who owns that ground. Have you guys done any of that?
Not on the island or the peninsula, simply because it was included in the original subdivision, but my assumption back in the 20s and 30s is that it was vacated so that they didn't have to pay property taxes on it because it wasn't usable. And he couldn't turn $1 on it.
Yeah.
That's my assumption from the development.
Swampy way back when.
Yes, yes. And,
We didn't have any place to draft, so we'd back the trucks up in here.
So it's good solid ground.
Yep. Yeah, it's not swamp.
Yeah.
It's
Would
not
you like the
swamp.
motion for table, or?
I move we table that till Matt does some further investigation. I'm not comfortable with making a recommendation at all, are you?
No, I'd second the motion.
Okay, we've got a motion to table, we've got a second. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
You've answered my
Okay.
questions.
Call me later.
I will.
Next on the agenda, we have Sheriff Gatton regarding the jail showers.
Afternoon, Mark Gatton, Sheriff. Well, first off, we're not, had to pull the request for showers due to one of the quotes did not have any labor figured in on it, so we don't have a true cost for you, and I'd hate to go through it twice, so. Next, I'd just like to ask for a favorable pass. A while back, we had a car wrecked, and we were paid back from the insurance, the total cost was $14,369.70 minus our $1,000 deductible. So we got a check back from the insurance for $13,369.70. Here recently, as y'all know, every year we're allotted $75,000 for the purchase of the vehicles in our rotation every year. This year's the first year that we couldn't buy all 3 cars with that allotted money. They were over $82 a piece that we're going to hopefully be able to pay with this money that comes back from the insurance. Also recently, with the hiring of the new officers to keep in the rotation we try, we were fortunate enough again to buy another vehicle out of commissary and set it up as a K-9 car. The cost of that car on the lot was $26,022. I spent out of commissary for that one. So, been fortunate enough, that's the 3rd vehicle bought from commissary since I've been sheriff, and I've also leased one on a 2-year lease. So I'm just asking, since you guys, the cars are in your name, for a favorable pass to ask the council for that money back for the installation, to pay the difference in the 3 cars and also the installation of equipment on the new 3 cars.
We make a motion that we give a favorable pass.
Okay, we've got a motion for a favorable pass for the $13,369.70 to go to Sheriff's Department, those insurance monies.
Second.
Got a second? Discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
Okay, thank you. And last thing I'd just like to bring up, I know we've had a lot of talks recently about other options for inmates and other programs. I know George and I have spent quite a bit of time together talking on different options. I'll be at the council tomorrow talking to them also, but I feel like we are at a stage now where we're going to have to request some kind of timeline on what we're going to do. Under Indiana Code 36-2-13-5, it states the sheriff shall take care of the jail and prisoners. This includes the safety for not only them but the staff. One of the recent changes, even though we've had numbers, I don't know if you guys looked, we've had numbers that were higher than they are today. But we've had a spike here. Oh, it's an ongoing thing, but just within the last 2 months, we've now had to transfer males out of a cell block and put them in existing cell blocks because we need more room for females. And when we move the females into a new block, that caused problems within the facility. We no longer have our disciplinary segregation lockdown block. We all know we've been struggling with the classifications at inmate capacity of 80%. We have been, that's nothing new to us. But as we move these male inmates into other blocks, the square footage per inmate's going down, which the state requires so much per inmate per cell block and so much per day room area. To alleviate some of the problems we've had with the amount of people, Jail Commander Martin has recently purchased 5 more tables for the block so we can get people off the ground while they're eating their meals. This purchase was done out of the misdemeanor fund money that he gets from DOC. One of the other options I've looked into is outsourcing inmates. Commander Martin's contacted a few facilities around here because I would like to get the closest facility. If this is a route we'd have to go due to the fact of transporting inmates. We all know the cost is $35 a day. Right now, with the new law, it's going to go up to $37.50 this July, and then next July it'll go up to $40 a day. If we outsource a minimum of 15 inmates, which will help us get back to a lockdown segregation block and just eliminate some of the crowding. The county's going to spend about they'll spend $525 per day, or $3,675 per week, or $191,100 per year, and that's at the minimum of 15 inmates. We'd also need Attorney Shipman to get involved for an interlocal government agreement between facilities, which is required by state statute, which I have templates I've got from other facilities for that. Just last week, with Paula Warden, along with a couple of her staff members, we sat down and we tried to implement taking pretrial out to eliminate people that aren't sentenced to go out there, start looking for a job slowly after a couple of weeks when they've been a good inmate. I think we took one out, and 4 female inmates that we thought would qualify just said, no, I'd rather sit in jail and serve my time. So there's a new twist for us that people don't even want to go join a program. So in closing, I'm just coming to you, and I don't know if we need to collaborate and sit down with another committee and really decide what we're going to do, but I feel we're starting to get to a critical state that we're going to have to do something. So I just wanted to make you aware of some of the options I've been looking into.
Thank you, Mark.
All right.
Mark, I've got a question for you. The $35 a day that we're paying right now, if the other jails, do they have opportunities to charge more per day? Or is that just a standard rate that they have to stick with?
That's the standard rate that the state gives us. You can't outsource. I mean, federal inmates, you're getting more. Sean did most calls. Sean, anybody charging over 35 right now or on the state?
What I still do is charge him the standard rate of $35 per inmate, and none of them will take female inmates.
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up, so. Don, did you have a question?
I just wanted to show you something.
All righty, thank you.
Yeah.
Mark, the other thing you did wrong, you should have done this 6 months ago.
We had to exhaust all our resources before I came over.
Still in? Mm-hmm. He's a haircut painter. Can we make? Oh, I see. You can't get him. Okay, I thought it was a good idea.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Brandon Forrester, Highway Department update.
Did we need to look at this?
No, that, he was,
You're just showing us.
well, they don't have the labor.
They don't have the labor in there.
Will they have it by tomorrow?
He's withdrawing the.
Oh, I don't know.
Mark, on this quote, where the labor's missing, is there any way to have that tomorrow for council?
Kyle's getting those quotes as we speak, and he's trying to get with get one of the local companies to check out who installs theirs up in Noble County. So they're going to take a field trip to see how that's done before he quotes.
Oh, okay, so probably not.
Yeah, tomorrow.
There's no.
I hope to have them up there at Noble County this week to get that taken care of.
Brandon, Highway Department Engineer and Director.
I don't have much. Obviously, we opened bids for what I'm calling Phase 2, community crossings, lake paving. I'll take a look at those, chat a little bit with contractors, provided that Brooks is the low bidder today and all the paperwork's correct, then we'll have two contractors. They'll work together fine, I'm sure. Some people have seen us or will be seeing us out doing some prep work, doing some sweeping to locate the edges, get loose stone cleaned up so they can put tack material down that'll bind the new asphalt to the old. We've been doing some milling up against concrete driveways so that pavers, when they come through, have something to butt up against. We've got some drainage work yet to do. And, this kind of work is subject to the weather. The completion date for both projects is September 15th. And again, weather permitting and scheduling, schedules change. But the Fendon Brown, which was the Phase 1 successful bidder, could be in here in 2-3 weeks, I'll say, is what I was just told. Again, subject to the weather.
What's kind of the last time you could pave around here? Can you make it to November?
They usually shut the plants down around middle of November.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't want it to get to that point. That's
No,
why
but it does, you can't control the weather, so,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Okay.
So other than that, we've had some significant rain, you could say, in the last couple weeks. We've had some drainage issues that we're working on at the highway and in the engineering department, but we've got one road that was been closed for a week or so now, should be open. That's 300 South along the SDI sewer project. And right now we have 250 North east of State Road 9 closed. I'm going to go out and evaluate that structure hopefully a little better tomorrow. When the suck hole opened up in the road, the water was above the top of the pipe, so we couldn't tell exactly what's going on. We may be able to get that opened up and backfilled with some compacted material. I did order pipe for that this morning, 74 foot of 10-foot diameter pipe. Yeah, I can't just go buy that at Lowe's or Morsha's, but I did order that about 2 weeks out on that, so. And I haven't heard, at least, of anything major beyond that.
One thing I would like to say is commend your people. There was an issue with a tree that went over the road on Lincoln Road, and all the residents there just wanted me to tell you that you guys did a great job, and they appreciated how quick they were and how efficient they were to get that off the road and clean it up. So they did tell me to let you know.
Okay, the guys do appreciate hearing that kind of stuff, so I'll make sure and let them know.
They did appreciate it.
Okay, do we have any right-of-way permits?
Yeah, I've got 2 right-of-way permits here. While Brandon's here, let's take a look at the right-of-way permits. I have one on East Wicken Road. Is that supposed to be Wilkin?
Wilkin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wilkin Road. And it's for CenturyLink. To bore 25 foot under Wilkin Road.
Do they really mean 25 feet under?
Well, no, the bore is 25 foot. The road.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay.
The road is not 25 foot wide, I'll guarantee you that.
But it says bore 25 feet under East Wilkin. That's a long way.
It'd be, from wherever they start to wherever they finish.
Yeah, okay.
I move we approve it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a second? Discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
I got another one from CenturyLink. East North Street. 28 feet under East North Street. I'm not sure where 50, 56 East North Street, what town's that?
Coessie.
East North Street, yeah, Quessy.
Quessy, okay.
Yes.
Coessie, yep.
I also move we approve this one.
Second.
Motion to approve, we got a second. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
I don't know what to do. Hand this down.
I have nothing more to report.
Thank you, Brandon.
Hand it down to Matt. He might want that, I don't know. It's something that was given to me, so I sure don't need it.
Okay, Don, I think you've had a chance to take a claims.
I did, sir, and I thought they were in great shape. Again, appreciate all Tiffany does. She has them laid out there and everything just right. And I would begin by making a motion that we approve payroll claims.
Second.
Motion to approve payroll claims. We've got a second. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
And I'd make a motion that we approve the claims as presented this morning.
Second.
Motion to approve regular claims as presented. We've got a second. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Okay, you've had a chance to take a look at the April 15th, 2019 minutes. Discussion or motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Got a motion to approve the April 15th, 2019 Commissioner minutes?
Yeah, I second.
Got a second? Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Thank you. Angela? Nothing. Matt, did you have anything more? Jana?
Okay. Commissioner Amber brought something up to me earlier today. It looks like I don't think I've received a letter or anything from the state, but we are receiving a supplemental local income tax distribution. We are receiving extra funds. So just the county, not including Cleveland, all the townships, we're getting for county general $575,749. Public safety is receiving $199,659. And then CEDA is receiving an additional $144,488. I'm not sure when that will come, but,
It was said May. I think it said, it was sent last year in May, so probably expect it this year in May, but again, my information did not come from DLGF.
Does that come in May or it may come?
Yep, that's right. No, come in May.
So this is actually monies that have been held back of our money.
It's our money.
They're going to give us.
Yeah, believe me, it's not free money, it's, everybody in here is paid into it, so.
and then again, I have the product lease agreement for Impact. Again, between Pitney Bowes and Impact, I've only worked with Pitney Bowes. So I believe that the clerk has worked with both. And so I have the agreement. If we go two separate agreements, it's more. So if we just put them both on one, it saves us some money. But I believe one is up in June, one is up in July. So
If you go one agreement, how is do you internally divide the money then? Or,
No,
I guess I don't know the source of the money for this.
it all comes out of county general, and I believe it's your budget.
So
It's immaterial.
So it just makes sense to combine the two then?
Yeah.
Do we need to approve that agreement?
Yeah.
I move we approve the agreement with Pitney Bowes.
Actually, Impact.
Impact, I'm sorry.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve the lease agreement with Impact for postage meters.
Second.
We've got a second. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
I hope that motion takes care of both agreements.
It would just be that one. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. Commissioner.
I have nothing, sir, thank you.
Commissioner?
Nothing else.
We'll ask the public. Anything in the public? Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
So moved. Second.
Motion to adjourn. Why?